Good evening, Open Spokes. Erin Luong, talking to you tonight for the first time from my new location in Tarui, Japan. So, I'm excited to get back on board with the Open Spokes and to do some reflecting. Just to recap, last year I worked as a high school guidance counselor with Susan Spellman-Can. And I was living in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I worked in a high school, and I was a guidance counselor, and I met almost everyone from Open Spokes during ETMOOC, which was the online course that we took starting in January of 2013, which was put on by Alex Curios. And since that time, I've accepted a position as an assistant English teacher and coordinator of international relations between the Calgary Catholic School District and Tarui, Japan, which is actually even cooler because when I was in junior high, I actually was a homestay family for a number of years for students from Tarui, Japan. So now it's 20 years later, and I actually got a job working as the coordinator of the role which I participated in when I was a teenager. So it's pretty sweet and everything like that. So anyways, now that I'm here and life is happening, some of the things that I am thinking about and noticing are the follows. Last year, working at Bishop Carroll is a self-directed student learning model. So everything I did, I was able to be extremely student-centered with, focusing on the needs of my students, what they brought up, helping them create projects and ideas around what they needed, and using them as experts to teach me. This year, I live in Japan, and the Japanese school system is extremely different than the Canadian school system. So in Canada, people really... Hi, Lena. Oh, this is Lena. She would like to say hi in my video for a second.
Hello.
Hello, Lena. Okay, our house in Tarui is very small. So therefore, my kids are being very, very patient with me while I make this video. So last year at Bishop Carroll, it was very student-centered, so everything I did and everything I talked about was, focusing on the needs of the student, being extremely involved with what the student needs and the student wants. I was really intrigued last year when our group talked about things like Genius Hour. Well, now I live in Japan, and in Japan, students are extremely organized, and the school system is very efficient. However, they do not value creativity and individuality in the same manner that North American, Canadian American school systems do. So therefore, even though I've been teaching for 15 years, almost everything I have ever known or believed or learned about teaching is almost irrelevant this year in my job. So I've met a whole bunch of very nice junior high students in the last 2 weeks. I have to say they've been extremely kind and extremely accommodating with me, really helpful. They, when I forgot to get my lunch tray, they ran downstairs and got that. Sensei, it's okay, it's okay. When I opened my milk carton, 20 kids came over and showed me how to use a straw. So they've been very, very fabulous. But one of the things that I've noticed in Japan is that my students are very proficient at reading and writing. However, their ability to actually verbalize and use the language is extremely limited. And this is not just because they're not native speakers, but because the school system does not teach them how to be innovative and creative with their language use. So the students sort of parrot back the statements that the teacher says. I've also noticed this in the Japanese class that my husband and I are taking. We get a different topic every week, and I try and maybe break the mold and think of a more creative way to say whatever they're teaching us. Like last week we were talking about what you do on your day off, and I was coming up with a different answer every time, and the teacher was like, Erin, no, you must say, on Saturday I go to the store. On Saturday I play this game. At 10 o'clock on Saturday. So it was like a script, and it was very repetitive. And so I guess I'm learning the language, but it was very different than what I'm used to. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is that right now in the junior high schools, I am working with teachers who were already in the junior high schools to teach the students English. But in about 6 weeks, I will be in charge of my own adult English class that I'm teaching. And I sort of have to decide what I want to do. I had these really great ideas before I got to Japan about how I wanted to teach English. I wanted games and interaction and, maybe creating Christmas cards and having a project. And yet, after spending 2 weeks in a Japanese junior high, I don't know if my ideas will work in Japan or not. I don't know if my style of teaching is so different from the adult style that they're used to learning that if I shake it up, if they will go with it and try something new, or if they will freak out and say, what are you doing? So, my question to you, Open Spokes, any advice? What do you think? Should I go status quo or shake it up? Looking forward to hearing all your reflections. Thanks.